Ladies and gentlemen, what's up? This is episode 5 of the Otaku Nation podcast. I am admin of Facebook group Anime Lovers Johnlery Bato, aka Road Trip Auctioneer. And alongside with me is aka It's Story Time Real Talks with Jayvee Pasqua. How you doing, buddy?
What's up, guys?
So, we have a lot in store to talk about. Let's start this shit up with what have you been watching last week? Starting off, of course, Mr. Real Talks over here. What have you been watching this past week?
I rewatched the Trigun series, I watched Monster, I watched the Gundam Seed movie Endless Waltz, and I watched Midori Days. And did I say I watched
I've heard about Midori Days.
Did I say I watched Trigun too?
I think you've said
that. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Those are the four that I watched. And yeah, it was probably like the most time that I've spent watching anime, I guess, because one of them is actually relatively long, and then the other one too is sort of, there's like a lot of like background in it. Like I'm being really vague right now, so let me just clarify. Monster, I believe it has like over 25 episodes. It's actually quite long, or it feels, when you're watching it, it feels long.
And is it like a mystery story?
Yeah. And then Trigun, there's like a lot of backstory there, and then sort of. And the thing is, by the time you're done watching it, like, yeah, you sort of left with more questions. Anyways, okay, let me start. First thing I watched was Midori Days.
What? I've heard about this.
It's a comedy, alright? It's a romantic comedy. There's this girl. Her name's Midori. Hence the title.
Okay, there you go.
There's the main male character. I fucking forgot his name. I think it's Seiji or Seju, whatever. Anyways, this guy, he's like a tough, the main male character. He's like a tough, fighter type of guy. And because of this, like, people, like, are scared of him, including women. And the thing is, he actually sort of has a heart of gold. But the thing is, he can't get a girlfriend. So, like, he can't get a girlfriend because people perceive him to be, like, this tough, like, fighter type of guy.
This almost sounds like the male version of, like, what's that thing? Kimi Ni Todoke or something like that.
Yeah.
It's, like, almost like that.
Anyways, yeah, he's a tough guy. Because of that persona, he can't get a girlfriend. So he's, like...
That's weird.
So he's sort of, like, sad in that he can't get a girlfriend. And he's sort of, like... It's a joke in the anime series. He's like, the main character Seju, or not main character. Well, he is the main male character in the show. He's like, "Oh, I won't have a girlfriend except my right hand," which is sort of like, yeah, the jokes. There's a lot of jokes in this anime. That's pretty hilarious. Anyways, then the other character, Midori, basically she has a crush on this guy, but she's very shy and she can't express it. And they both make some wish, like he wishes he has a girlfriend, and Midori wishes she could be the girlfriend of this guy. And like through some magical thing, like it's never explained. Through some magical thing, Midori basically becomes this guy's right hand. And like, yes, like literally, like it's like his hand is like the face, the body, the arms, not the legs, but like attached to his arm.
What the fuck?
Of like this girl. So Midori becomes Seji's arm.
Like literally his right hand.
Yes, literally his right hand. Which sort of is a metaphor where like for masturbators out there, like who use the right hand. Yeah.
That's probably the first thing that guys would do is like, oh, I can control the hand.
Yeah. So you could tell, yeah, by the concept of this show, yeah, Midori becomes this guy, Seji's right arm or right hand, and basically slapstick comedy and pervertedness and hilarity ensues, as I like to say it. Because the thing is, Seiji, yes, he has a heart of gold, but he's still a guy. And like most guys, they have their perverted moments. Yeah. So like, there's a moment in the anime where Midori, like, she also has like a heart of gold. She's like a very innocent, like, girl next door type of like girl.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, she's helping Seiji and like she's cleaning up and all that stuff. And then all of a sudden, like, she finds like a porno mag while she's cleaning up. And then like she goes underneath the bed and finds all the porno mags. And then Seji's like, he has to explain himself. I read them for the articles. Like, yeah, there's a lot of like in-jokes. There's a lot of jokes like that in there, and it's relatively hilarious, and yeah. And the thing is not usually the type of shows that I watch, but it's, yeah, I would say it's my guilty pleasure, but it's a good guilty pleasure, because it's hilarious, it's funny. At the same time, like, you know, with an anime, with this type of concept, it does have its problems. Like,
it's like my Oreimo.
Yeah,
it's like that.
It's still a good anime though, considering its problems. A lot of like the characters that are introduced sometimes, like aside from like the two main characters, Seiji and Midori, who are the main focus, you know, they get their character development throughout the series, and there's other like minor characters that are involved, and I wish they had more like development with them. At the same time too, like even though they're the two main characters, you want more character development from the two main characters.
Yeah.
Another thing too is it's never fully explained though, like how she becomes the dude's hand. So that's one thing I want to figure out. And yeah,
That hasn't been like figured out why this guy was literally his right hand or her right hand.
no, I want to. Yeah, I don't want to know how it happened. Maybe, and that's the thing with like most anime, where there's sometimes like there's some magical coincidence that makes this happen. So then like the premise of the show can actually happen. Like bam, girl, like this girl who has a crush on you becomes your right hand. And like right after the main character made the joke, I would have a girlfriend except my right hand. Bam, his right hand becomes a girlfriend.
Well, it literally happens.
But yeah, if you're into like romantic comedies with like a silly premise and like funny ass shit in regards to the premise of the show, then watch Midori Days. It's freaking hilarious. I also watched. I rewatched the Trigun series. Looking back onto it, it starts off as just something like. The thing is, it's a sci-fi western, which is the thing about sci-fi westerns is it's a hard thing to do perfectly.
Yeah.
And just because I think a show that did it successfully was a show called Firefly by Josh Whedon.
Yeah.
And if you don't know who Josh Whedon is, he directed the Avengers. So yeah, he did a good job with the sci-fi western Firefly. With Trigun, it does a good job, but it doesn't reach that perfectness. Perfection that is Firefly.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing about it though is, given like sort of how it's set up, you could sort of forgive it. And the thing is too, it does well to like make you sort of invested into the world that it makes. But the thing with Trigun though is like throughout the episodes, you're asking yourself like questions because then you find out one, they're on a different planet, so you're like, okay, how the hell did they get on this planet?
Yeah.
And two, if they got on this planet and it's so like, and yes, it is like a sci-fi western, but at the same time, it's like, it still seems like there's not that much advancements in technology with them, considering like at least with Firefly, you saw like there were like spaceships and all that stuff in this. In Trigun, I guess it's more western oriented. And the thing about Trigun too is, at first, it starts off as like a weekly, as like not a weekly, as like an episodic thing where each episode is like a standalone and there's not really like a contribution to the plot.
Yeah.
But then you get introduced to the main villain, and then that progresses the plot further, and then it goes from like a very happy, like I guess like action comedy western sci-fi thing to something a bit more dark, which is a bit, I don't want to say odd, but then it sort of reaches a point where you're like. It started out fun, but then like once the main villain is introduced, then like that progresses the story and that introduces you to like the main character of Vash's past, and then it introduces you to like a sort of a more darker storyline and plotline and all that stuff, which is a bit like which I'm fine with, but then it reaches a point where you're like, oh, I want my happy back, like you want it to be like the happy-go-lucky thing again. And by the end of the series, you're left wondering, like, you're left asking more questions.
Yeah.
And that's sort of a big, it really sort of ticks you off because you sort of want a sense of finality with it and you want more answers. But by the end, I was finding myself to be asking more questions. And it's a bit annoying. The other thing I watched, it was a movie. It's called Gundam Wing and This Waltz. It's a standalone movie from the actual series itself. The movie, it's not... While doing little parts to sort of oriented to or connected to the main Gundam series, it's sort of you sort of can watch Endless Waltz without really watching the series. And I gotta say, Endless Waltz, considering like I think when it was made, it's very visually like appealing to me. I'm not sure about other people, but I find it visually appealing. The story itself, it could be better. The story, in my opinion. At the same time, it is what it is. I enjoy it because I'm into like mech battles and mech animes. At the same time, I feel like the storyline was sort of a rehash of what they were trying to do with the main storyline, with the main series. Mm-hmm. But if you're like looking for like epic mech battles and all that stuff, then I recommend this anime.
Just for the action of it.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. It's pretty badass too. The mechs are designed really well too. It's like the mechs were designed by like a really like famous Japanese mech designers.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I'm saving the best for last, and that is Monster. It's a relatively old series. I think it was made in 2006. Yeah, it's not old. It's only like been a couple years. I know. It's not like in the 1990s. But anyways, the main story of Monster is basically, well, it starts off with a doctor saving a kid instead of saving like a president or the prime minister's like son.
Now, why is that though?
What?
Why is that?
What do you mean?
Like, why did he save a kid? As in, like, there's a prime minister or president who's also.
Oh no. Let me explain then. There's a doctor. He has two choices. Either he saves the son of or the uncle or I think the cousin of like some prime minister, or he saves a child. He chooses to save the child.
Now, what's so special about the child though?
I'll get into that further.
Okay.
The thing about the child though, like he just saves it because it's a child, and the thing is, yes, it's a prime minister or it's a person's like, it's a main like political figures like relative. At the same time, like a child has so much more potential. Like they have the ability to grow up.
Yeah, but like we already have like someone who could potentially be in line for a prime minister / president.
Yeah, it's not a hierarchy thing, all right. He's not in line. He has to like do the job. Like he's just
but
like it's like the same reason. It's like how like JFK's his relatives weren't really like in line to become the next president.
Well,
anyways, it does.
It
has nothing. It has nothing to do with the story though. So like.
No, but that's still.
Just fuck it.
Really... like, why would you want to like have someone save a child that could potentially be great or just as bad as in a kid who or an uncle or whatever that's in like who has the president's blood?
How about this? George W. Bush is the president, and you could choose to save his kid. You could choose to save like his cousin, who's also the same amount of dumbass as George W. Bush, or you could choose his kid, who hasn't like proven.
Okay, but like I'm just like. Yeah. I'm just saying, because like in all retrospect, because like it's common sense. It's kind of common sense.
I know, but like it's a setup of the thing. Like the thing is
because like there's gotta be something special about that kid. Then.
The president, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So the thing is like he doesn't save the president or the prime minister's son or cousin, whatever. Like I don't even know if it's a son, cousin, or anything because one, it doesn't contribute anything to that. It's just he chooses to save the kid.
Okay.
And the kid grows up to be like the world's greatest serial killer.
Well, what the hell?
Yeah, that kid that he saves grows up to be the world's greatest serial killer, and then like the doctor has to go like.
Well, good freaking job on the freaking idiot that decided to save the kid.
Yeah, but you don't know. The thing is about the kid. Anyways, the thing about the show Monster is it's sort of like Dexter and Death Note, but combined. But with the main character, his name is oh Christ, I forgot his name. Wow, Johan. His name. Okay. I think it's Johan.
Okay.
And the main character, he grows up to be the world's greatest killer. And the thing about it though is, yes, it is like Dexter and Death Note. But the issue with it is there's no really main purpose with Johan, because the thing is with Death Note, the main character is trying to create a better world, and like he tries killing, in order to save like villains in order to save the world, and like even though he
save the world, like,
even though he resorts to like killing innocents too.
Yeah.
Dexter, he's a serial killer, but then like the Guardian, basically trains him so he kills like criminals instead. While with Monster, the main character Johan, he just does it for really sort of no purpose aside from just I guess he has an enjoyment for killing people, and that's the thing about Monster. It's sort of not a lot of animes do this where they dive into the psyche of a serial killer, and that's
pretty cool though.
Not only that, but they make him the main character in like this. Yeah, Johan is the main character.
So there is no side story. He just likes killing people.
The side story is he has a twin sister, and then there's the doctor, and basically the doctor and and Johan's sister try solving. Because the thing is, Johan, he's a serial killer, and he's the perfect serial killer. And you don't know whether this was because the doctor, whether the doctor saved him. Because the thing is, for all you know, when he was a little kid and he was saved by this doctor, he was fine before all of this. Or maybe something like maybe the doctor saving him triggered something, like he got hurt by something, and then. That triggers something to make him become a serial killer. But even then, that's just one option. The other option is he was actually raised like this, where he was. They explore the thing where he was in an orphanage, and then And then in the orphanage, basically, it's still very vague, but they're like apparently teaching these kids to become like through like a series of different experiments and through a series of different
So
testings.
they're being researchers and shit, and like
No,
just,
no, no,
they
no.
just tested on these kids.
No, they didn't test on these kids. They basically modify them or train them. You know, basically, you're a normal kid.
Yeah.
All right, you're a little kid, and
Okay.
from a baby, you are, everything influences you from a baby all the way up to when you grow up and, become an adult.
Yeah.
Like, for example, the way that I could put it is, in World War II, a lot of the kids in Germany were raised up to believe that Hitler's way, or the Reach, as they were called, was the right way or the right path to go. So then you have all these German kids thinking that Nazis are good, and thinking Nazis are good and thinking that their ideals are, the right way to go, and thinking that, Jewish people are bad.
Yeah.
That's basically training these kids.
Okay.
Because of their environment, because of the influence that the people in their environment and the stuff that goes on within their environment, that influences the kid to become this type of, that person. That's what they did in like World War II with a lot of German kids.
Okay.
And here he was in an orphanage, and along with other boys, because of the environment that they were put in through this orphanage, they became like perfect killers. But the thing is, the only person to survive, this training and to like not go insane through this training was Johan. All the other kids or all the other boys, basically, all the other boys, they didn't survive and went into insanity. The only other survivor too is like his sister, or his twin sister. I'm not clear on her story, her backstory, but I think like Johan became like a killer, while her sister really didn't succumb to like the psychotic craziness that happens with Johan.
Okay.
Anyways, through the influences and through the training and through all the shit that Johan goes through, he's a perfect serial killer. So when he kills somebody, he doesn't leave like a trace of evidence. So then it's up for like his sister and the doctor to solve the mystery that comes, or the mystery that who the killer is. Because the thing is, throughout the story, as a viewer, Johan is the killer because all that shit.
It's
like
right through his eyes.
Through his eyes and all that shit. But at the same time, no one else in the story knows Johan is the killer, because he's a normal dude in the show, or everybody thinks he's a normal dude in the show, where he's a charming, charismatic type of guy, and like he's super nice, he's good with children and all that shit. So you don't know like the dark sort of underlining beneath all that. And yeah, so it's a crime mystery. It dives into the mind of serial killers. And that's another thing too. There's points where you like, I know it sort of sounds bad, but yes, he is the main character, and to a certain degree, part of you wants to cheer for him, even though what he's doing is bad. Just because he is sort of a very
That's
charming...
pretty odd, though. That's pretty odd.
No, because it progresses the story, so you're cheering for it. I'm not saying like you have tendencies to like kill people, but I'm just saying there's something about the character that it's spine tingling, like it chills you to the bone and gives you goosebumps, like with the idea of this killer, like Johann Liebert, that's his name, full name. Okay. Yeah, to a certain degree, you still want to cheer for him, just because because you want to solve the mystery that is Johann Liebert. You want to like figure out what's going on with this guy.
Well, okay. Will we figure out why?
What?
Or like, will we figure it out eventually?
I don't want to be like, watch the show. I recommend it. The thing is, I don't.
But isn't like the show pretty long though? Like that's the thing though, because these people sometimes.
Well, what was that baseball anime
something.
that you said?
Okay. So it's almost as good like that.
Yeah,
Major.
Monster is really good
because Major has like over 100 episodes.
Well, Major is like a sports.
And it actually has like different gold set throughout.
Yeah.
Okay.
At the same time though, like with Monster though, it's just the story enthralls you. It captivates you, just because it's usually because no other anime really sort of does something like that, where they make the main character
the killer.
What? No, the main character is not the sister. It's Johan.
Yeah, serial killer. Serial.
Yeah, the main character is a serial killer.
Yeah.
So the thing is, you wanna root for him in the sense that you want to solve the mystery that is Johann Liebert. At the same time, you don't have like. I'm not saying you have like your tendencies to be a serial killer. Like by all means, like I'm not a serial killer. Like I don't have tendencies towards like killing somebody and all that stuff. But the thing is, I find that like I cheer for him a lot for some reason. Not a lot. I cheer for him because one, he's the main character, and two, I want to figure it out, and three, he does it in a way where he still comes off as like a very charming person and a very sort of character that you're like very invested in. Pretty awesome though. It's sort of like why I was like so into like villain, like Disney movies. For some reason I was more into the villains than I was in the hero. I don't know why, but that's just me with the show too. And but the thing is too, like, you can't really like.
You're into the villains of Disney?
Yeah.
Really?
They're more intriguing. They're more interesting.
Really?
Yeah, the
Really?
heroes.
Come
The
on.
heroes are vanilla, right? They're vanilla, like they're like.
Like Toy Story. You want to vote for Mr. Lotso, who wants a
Okay, no. Toy Story, the first one, there wasn't really a clear-cut villain there. Yes, there was that psychotic kid in Toy Story 1.
a major
But the
villain.
thing about yes,
Toy
there's a
Story
major
1
though. There wasn't really like a main conflict. It was just jealousy between the two.
I'm talking about 3. Like going on to 3. There is a
Story is a lot more intriguing than Buzz's or Woody's.
okay Buzz's, but Woody, because he was his buddy for such a long. They have a story. It's throughout the movie. There are little backstories.
I know, but the thing about Woody though is Woody never got that like. Woody doesn't know what it feels like to be abandoned by Andy. Like Andy has kept.
Whoa! Yes, he has. When Buzz Lightyear became the newest toy out.
But he never threw like Woody out. Lotso, he got like thrown out. Like he was in the rain and all that shit, and then it was that switch of him becoming crazy. Woody and like the thing that I mean like about the villains though is in the sense of like their story is intriguing is because to a certain degree, like yes, they are evil, but then you want to figure out why they are evil.
There's always a
you want to figure out why they're that person. And you want to figure out why Lotso is Lotso. While with Woody and Buzz, you already know their backstory. You already know they're the good guys. You already know they're gonna win that. You already know all that shit about them. While with like Lotso, you're like, you don't know. And not only that, but he's like the worst type of villain to sort of use as an example. Like, I need one.
Well, he did want to destroy the entire like freaking like toys that came to the what's it called? Yeah, the daycare center.
Daycare.
Yeah. He wanted to kill all of them.
No, he didn't want to like kill.
He wanted to burn the toys, man.
Yeah, there was that scene, but whatever.
It made me cry. Okay.
Yeah. We'll see.
Come on.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, man. I'm just
the
kidding.
people that watched Toy Story knew how I felt because I've watched it a long time ago and then like up to whatever.
For Pete's sake, people died when like Bambi's dad or mother died. His mother doesn't even get like amount of like development in it, and people still cried. And I'm just looking around, I'm like,
whoa, well, I was like a little kid back then.
It's a freaking deer.
Yes.
There's barely like dialogue in it.
It's even like freaking Mufasa who got killed. Okay,
that was like that. That
actually made you cry?
No, that didn't make me cry. But like that. That's.
I see that was like motivation. And he's like.
Not motivation, but like the whole story of the Lion King. It's sort of like, the thing is. Wow, we're so totally getting off topic
we're getting
right
off
now.
topic. That's
Anyways, Monster.
Okay, actually go back to it.
The main character is a serial killer.
Okay.
So the thing is, that's interesting because not a lot of animes do that, where you have a main character who you would think is perceived to be the villain, while you would think that the detective, his sister, is the main hero or main character. But no, it's Johan. But then he needs a folly. He needs an adversary to go up against what he represents.
Yep.
Which is, his sister.
Yes.
It's sort of like Batman and Joker, where the Joker is chaos, Batman is sort of dark order, and they clash. But then if they did like a movie where, at the same time though, the Joker, yeah, there you go, there's an example. The Joker, for some reason, he was the villain, he was a bad guy, he did all this, like Alfred said, sometimes people just want to watch the world burn. That was the Joker.
That's our buddy, by the way.
What?
That's our Chinese buddy, Alfred. Just point that out.
What?
Because you just mentioned Alfred.
Yeah, Alfred Pennyworth.
Oh,
Batman's.
Alfred Pennyworth. Oh.
Yeah, Alfred.
That bust on me.
No, never. Yeah, it's not our friend.
No,
Alfred.
I think Alfred did say that before. I think. I don't know.
Anyways.
I think he might have said that.
Batman, Bruce Wayne.
I might be high on drugs.
Batman, Bruce Wayne. We don't condone drug use, by the way.
No, I'm just saying that in the figure of speech.
Anyways, Batman, Bruce Wayne.
Sorry
basically,
about that.
Yeah, Batman and the Joker. The Joker is crazy.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a plan. He doesn't have an order. He doesn't have like any purpose into doing all these evil acts. He just does it because he enjoys it. Yet for some reason, so many people, so many of the viewers,
They just freaking loved it.
they loved the Joker, and they were actually cheering for him more than they were cheering for Batman, just because there was so much there. There was so much sort of character, sort of with the Joker more so than Batman. Well,
because there was just something about him that just
Yeah.
makes you so interested in him.
what would Batman say? Where are the people? Like, what the fuck, Batman?
Well, it's just basically his voice that's
His
just
voice-
intriguing.
Yeah, no, his voice sucked.
No, I love his voice. I like it.
I'm Batman.
Yeah, see how deep that shit was?
Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, there's no purpose to like the super like. You could use a voice changer. There's no purpose for like him sort of talking on a raspy voice. Anyways, Monster, I recommend watching it. It's very intriguing. It's enthralling. It dives into the mind of like a serial killer. And I know a bunch of other movies have done that, but Monster does it justice.
Mm-hmm.
It's freaking awesome.
That's awesome.
Bam. Ba-boom. I'm done my animes.
So on to my freaking lineup. Last week, me and Michael were watching a shitload of anime on Crunchyroll.com. A shitload. Because we're all new. We didn't even get to finish most of it, but I'll tell you the list of what I've watched. And see if you can keep up with this. The first one's Attack on Titan. Gargantua of the Okay, I hate this one. I hate this title. I can't pronounce this. Jayvee, say it for me.
Gargantia
On the something.
Gargantia on the Verdurous Planet.
Okay, there you go. That's what it's called. Jayvee talked about this last week.
Or as the Japanese is called
No,
Susue no Gargantia.
Susue is a fucked up title. That's what it's called.
Even the English dub. Gargantia on the Verdurous Planet.
That's messed up. The Valvrave the Liberator. We've seen Majestic Prince. Sorry, that's 5, 4. That's 4 so far. Flowers of Evil. That's 5. Naruto-san. That's 6. Photo Kanto. That was 7. There's so many shit. Okay, I can't even pronounce this shit too. Uta no Prince Sama.
Mushibugyo
There you go. That's it. That's 9.
or Mushibugyo. For Pete's sake.
The Severing Crime Edge is it Severing or Severing?
Sorry guys if we're like butchering these names right now.
I know I can't. I hate these title names. They're all so messed up. It's the Severing Crime Edge. Okay, there you go. That's 10. Samurai Bride. That's 11.
That married shit.
Muromi-San. I hate these.
Muromi-san, Zettai, Bouei, Leviathan,
Yeah.
Arata the Legend.
Yeah,
I've
Arata
watched
the
that
Legend.
one. That's the one I've watched too. And Sparrow's Hotel. I've watched that one. And that is it.
That's like what?
That's
Like
a shitload of
like
anime
what?
we've watched.
14 animes?
14.
Bam, marathon that entire
Wait.
shit.
Okay, I want to talk about what you talked about last week. The most complicated title. Say it again.
Gargantia on the Verdurous Planet.
Okay, that's what it's called. The first episode, when I've watched it, the animation
Was beautiful.
it was wonderful. The opening sequence of the anime was so intense. I literally got like a big boner watching the greatest intro to a mech anime ever.
Yeah.
A bunch of Gundams or mech robots just going after this plant of it. And they're just like, yo, we gotta finish this shit up or else, fuck, we're gonna be dead. That's what it is. When it started to dim down, however,
Yeah.
when he got, like, transported to a different dimension, to a place called Earth,
An alternate Earth.
an alternate Earth, where he would land on a ship that was like a city.
You have to admit though, the ship designs are pretty
It's intense.
they're it's really animated well, this show.
This show was animated well, but like I thought the opening sequence of that show just made me so into this shit that, you know, I literally just like wanted to like hope there would be more of this shit. More on.
It's only
you
like
know?
the first couple episodes
I
that
know,
came out.
but like
You wanted more mech balance,
I
but then
wanted more
it
mech
sort of became
But it seems
this.
like once he got transported to that shit, it seems like we're gonna wait for a while until he actually gets back into that action
mode.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing about this sort of anime. It's sort of, I guess maybe it's a deconstruction of the mech genre in a way, or not a deconstruction, but a new take on it. That's my, like I said in the previous podcast, that was my issue, where they like do the whole mech battles and do all that stuff, and like the story is set up pretty well, but then you get, but then like later on in the episodes, you know, he lands on the planet, and then he meets like a 15-year-old girl, and then if they like transition, and honestly, I haven't watched like.
Oh, by the way, in that show, I love how they like somehow make two languages seem different from each other.
No, what do you mean?
Like, you know, because this guy is from a different dimension, he doesn't speak their language, apparently, even though, you know, both of them are speaking Japanese. Go on.
That's the thing with like that's the thing that like Japanese people do. Like for example, in Trigun, like he meets like in the Japanese dub, he meets a guy who actually speaks Japanese, but then in Japanese he says, "I can't understand Japanese."
Yeah,
because like the main characters in like the Trigun series, they're supposed to be speaking English.
Yeah.
And like so when they meet a Japanese guy, they can't understand the Japanese guy. So then you're like, so then watching the English dub, you're sort of confused by that because you're like, but he's speaking Japanese right now, so he can't understand Japanese. So that's the thing. Like, that's why I can't wait till this gets like an English dub. So then sort of.
Trigun doesn't have English dub?
I don't think it has an English dub yet.
I think it does.
Really?
Does it? I think it
I
does.
don't think so because it's only. Like
I remember Trigun was on the channel. I think it was on a channel. I'm trying to remember.
Anyways, well.
I think it has a dub.
It has yet to be determined. But the thing is, yeah, I watched it on the Japanese dub too. Anyways, I was saying, yeah, epic mech thing, and like it's actually an intriguing story for me. But then, honestly, if they set it up to be a romance, or if you could have you could have a romance in it, but if you set it up to make that the main focus and not him like going back to his real world, and like or just sort of, you know, progression of a story. If you focus on the romance too much, then fuck you. like no.
The animation was amazing. And I watched it. Even like just everything. It was just beautiful to watch. Their little attacks. City that was built on the ship. The way it's portrayed. The humans are nice too. The little humans are nice drawn well. Everything about that show is off to a good start.
Production value, man.
Yeah, it's intense. They actually like went all on this show for sure.
Yeah,
and like
let's just hope they continue it, and they do not make the nosedive, a la Sword Art Online.
Ugh.
Where it started out so well. Even animation too in Sword Art Online.
Animation still was.
It was good in Sword Art Online. Like, whoa, sorry about that, guys. Something happened with the mic. Yeah, the animation, like everything was good in Sword Art Online in the beginning, but then boom, nosedive because of the romance. So I'm just hoping they don't do that with Gargantia on the Verdurous Planet.
There were so many mech anime that came out this spring. I said last week that the lineup wasn't that good, or it sucked, but that's only because I haven't. The releases hasn't been shown up yet. But there's 3 mech anime. New mech anime that happened this spring. Valvrave the Liberator is also one of the most amazing mech anime I've ever watched, ever. It's slow though. It's so slow. It starts out pretty slow, where we see a guy. He's a. I can't really say. He's like another pussy. I can't really find another word for that because like. That's what he is. It's almost we're looking at Neon Genesis. It's almost like this guy. We're looking at Neon Genesis.
Shinji Hikari.
But
what, like, okay, Neon Genesis. Basically, you have a 14-year-old or a 12-year-old bitch pussy who is responsible for piloting a giant mech suit to fight these monsters known as angels. Now, really, is that the type of like? And the thing is, too, he's like Shinji Hikari. This character has like mental breakdowns, so like he has emotional breakdowns. He's insecure. He doesn't have confidence. Do you honestly think that is the type of guy to pilot a mech, like a giant mech suit? In addition, it's a government agency, military type of thing. So why the hell can't you get like a military, like what do you call it? A military general within your operations, or somebody military trained, or somebody who's not.
This show,
like
Valvrave the Liberator.
Yeah.
This guy has never touched a mech robot before.
That's the thing.
We are going. This show is almost going to Neon Genesis when I'm actually thinking about it now.
with the main, like with the character there, right?
Yeah.
Shit.
Keep going, because like,
Yeah.
it's coming into me soon.
Shinji Hikari. That's another thing too. Shinji Hikari has no experience piloting mechs. You never like they never explore that, do they? In Neon Genesis.
No,
they never show his training and shit.
They never explored it.
See exactly where they have. Okay, that's the thing with like a lot of mech animes or something like that, or the ones that are considered, or with Neon Genesis in this case, where it's considered good, or a good anime, or like by purists out there, where they're like, oh yeah, we like Shinji Hikari. He's like the perfect character to pilot a mech. No, he's not.
He didn't freaking like.
Anyways, that's the thing though. When you watch like with Gundam Wing, with Gundam Seed and all that stuff, they had Gundam Wing. Basically, you had these kids who were trained from the age of 6 all the way up to like 15, with military training and all that stuff, and like specialist type of shit. They were trained to do that. All right, so that's understandable. Gundam Wing, they were genetically modified. Like they were called coordinators, and like they can operate. Yeah, Gundam Seed. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, they were like they could like operate it because they can process it in their mind. Shinji Hikari, not once do you see a quality in him that makes him like the perfect pilot for a mech.
Okay, this show, Valvrave the Liberator, has been produced by the same company that made the Gundam shows.
What the fuck?
Sunrise. So that's why I'm saying the animation is amazing in that one. In this one. So back to like your take on Shinji Hikari.
And this main character.
Haruto, the main character of this show, is like Shinji Hikari.
Shit.
He has never once used a mech until there was like a little a problem with the government. Apparently, I don't know. There's a bunch of kids who migrated to like space.
Mars.
70% of all human beings in this story went to space to live there because they developed like so many space cities up there. Now, the military, there's a little conflict between the military. And like for some strange reason, we haven't gotten to that part yet, so I can't find the story to it. But all of a sudden, a bunch of guys came in and decides to declare war on the space cities, apparently. Now, the only reason why he wanted to do it, one of these guys, is so he can capture this very special mech robot.
It's like Mega's XLR. Have you seen Mega's XLR?
No.
It was on Cartoon Network.
I only watched the first episode, so I can't really get into this shit. But, like, now we have somebody who's trying to go after this mech robot because it's so special that it's great use for, apparently, the military. So, he's on, like, Haruto was basically trying to escape from all this war. He has friends with him. One of them being the one that he likes so much. She ends up getting killed within the 15 minutes of the show. That's no spoiler alert because that's just the first episode. She gets killed within the 15 minutes of the first episode. And then...
Show us how much she's a main character.
But that created like some adrenaline rush for, I'll say, Shinji Hikari number 2. And all of a sudden, he goes rage mode and tells himself, okay, fuck this. The only way I'm going to freaking get revenge on this shit is if I use that special ass mech. So that he uses that shit, and he all of a sudden becomes the beast. He
all of a sudden can pilot
he all of a sudden he knows how to freaking use it. Wait, he's like Shinji Hikari number 2, where he
2.0.
His character. I kind of hate it. I hate his character. It's so shit, and I can't really like comprehend this guy because like it's hard to understand this guy now because it's only the first episode I've watched. But I got into it because at the end of the episode, we see he gets shot. The main character gets shot 9 times.
50 cents.
Pulling up some 50. I was about to say that. Pulling up some 50-cent shit. Gets shot in the heart, in the head, and then gets shot like 7 times just as insurance. So
he lives.
So this guy from the military was about to go after this Gundam, when all of a sudden his
Gundam mech suit,
whatever. Where all of a sudden his body reacted to his like pacing to the mech robot. He comes out alive and bites him on the neck. So there's some like vampire shit that happens in the show too, apparently. And that's where it ended. And that's Valvrave the Liberator. For
Do
now.
the mech suits look good in this?
It's not bad. It's
Yeah.
not bad.
It's not like Gundam quality.
It's not, but it's not bad.
Like-
It's not horrible. And like, okay, if you guys, okay, I'll recommend this show because I've only watched the first episode. Because the animation's fantastic. And the character that you see in there is Shinji Ikari number 2. So if you're into Neon Genesis Evangelion, then you might like this show too, because the character is exactly like Shinji. The pacing of the battle is almost like Neon Genesis a little bit.
I mean, animation's better.
Animation's better too. And like if you like little vampire moments here and there, it has that
In the first episode.
in the first episode, so it's already fucked up as it is. Another Gundam show. There's one more. It's a funny one though. It's not that interesting. I'm trying to find what it's called though. Oh yeah, Majestic Prince. That's what it's called. This show right here is about 5 students who cannot. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Crunchyroll has it actually. So I'm gonna read it off from Crunchyroll. Earth year 2110, having expanded into space and secured many asteroids abandoned in natural resources, it seemed mankind's prosperous future was assured. However, Earth is now being invaded by Iragi, a mysterious galactic empire from Jupiter. So, like,
What is this? Some Star Wars shit?
yeah, something like that.
No, Star Trek?
Just as mankind is facing certain destruction, the secret military agency, the MJP, the Majestic Prince shit, undertakes a gene manipulation project to create humans who can adapt life in space. The result is Team Rabbits, a group of children who are given combat devices called Ash, and sent to the front lines as shields for the global defense force. So, about this Team Rabbits, they're a group of failures. They really suck at using the mechs. But the mechs that they were given by the military, they run on how they react or how their mind works. So if they're in their mind, if they're telling them to run away, the mech will run away. If they act so determined, the Gundam will eventually become they would beast and kill off some like aliens out there and shit. That's how it works for this Gundam show. You think or act the way you are, the Gundam will act exactly the same thing.
Sort of like a symbiotic relationship with like your mech suit.
Yeah, and it's a funny show. I only watched the 2 episodes, only 2. It's not bad, but it's probably like the 3rd best Gundam show for this spring. It's not bad. Majestic Prince. I recommend watching this too. If you like,
Are we gonna go through like the description of all 13 animes
no,
you
man,
watched?
I'm trying to like give you like the good ones here.
Right. Because if we run through that,
Okay, so 3 Gundam shows are really good, and then hold on a second. There's one more that I'm actually like so into this shit. It's almost like it's a Titan apocalypse shit. We're looking at like almost like The Walking Dead here. I finally like found the anime, not High School DXD. It's almost like The Walking Dead, zombie apocalypse moment there. Attack on Titan is that show, and
I've heard of it.
you heard this show. This show is amazing. It's probably the show to watch for this spring. So what happens in this show is that Titans are overtaking the world now.
What are Titans? Like,
Titans are huge as like zombie humans.
is it like in Greek mythology, like the Greek Titans, like in that type of thing?
It's almost like that. I'll get into that though. So like the civilians have been basically overrun by Titans in the world. They live in a city that's been covered by 50 or 100-foot wall around them. to ensure that the Titans does not come in and what the Titans do. By the way, they eat human beings. So that's what I'm saying. It's almost like The Walking Dead. They eat the living.
Or like the Greek mythology, because in Greek mythology they had they had Titans, and one of the leaders of the Titan was Kronos, and then he ate his kids because he thought his kids would usurp him and conquer him.
It's almost like that.
Bam.
And
they built a wall. Somebody copied Game of Thrones.
It's almost like that. They built a wall, so they would. So it's to ensure that the Titans wouldn't come. Mm-hmm. But what happened on that day, on episode 1, was the start of you could say
a war.
Not a war. Well, a war with the Titans and human beings, but it's an apocalypse would happen. Basically, because the Titans would somehow, because there would be one Titan that come down from Earth. He's a huge ass Titan. He's at least 100 feet, and this guy would break this very strong hold of a wall. He would box that shit out, and he breaks it. So the civilians are fuck, we're screwed. We gotta run away from this shit. So the Titans have overtaken their land, and basically every single Titan has overrun the city. They have eaten at least over 1,000 human beings that are in there. And I want to explain the main characters, but they're not that interesting. As into the whole story behind the world itself. But Attack on Titan is fucking amazing. It's the animation is spot on. It's almost like a comic strip animation too. It's so cool. The opening song is amazing. They haven't gone to the fighting part yet, but they will eventually. Hopefully. No, they will. Okay. The two main characters of the show. Don't know. I forgot their names because they don't seem interesting at all. But their goal is to help, basically, stop the Titans from overtaking the world, and he wants to kill every single Titan in the world. Simply put it. Now this is the first time that this main character has experienced a Titan killing off a city that's been built to stop Titans, and he saw his mother died in that shit when that shit happened. So he was like, okay, this is it. I'm going to freaking put every single part of my body, use it to freaking kick every single Titan out of this world and save humanity, basically. That's what it is, man. This show is amazing, and I recommend anybody to watch the show, because it almost plays off as a survival show. You have to survive to live, basically, and it's almost like The Walking Dead. You got little shit that you have, but you have to use whatever you can to survive on this planet. And Attack of the Titan is almost like that. It plays off like The Walking Dead. So
except they're giant zombies.
Except they're giant zombies, which is almost impossible too. Even the military cannot defeat at least one Titan. At least they can't. Not one person. So all I'm saying is that if you wanna watch something that's so different, Attack on Titan is the show to watch this spring, and I totally recommend all of you to watch it. Those are the good ones, and there's so many other ones, but
those are the ones that stuck out.
That stuck out so much to me. So, oh man. So, guys, I guess that's it.
Ba-boom!
Oh man. When I said about last week, I said about the lineup for the spring anime wasn't that great. I take everything back. I mean, there's at least all the 13 shows I've watched are so damn interesting that it got me to the point where I'm like, fuck, I have to actually,
pay attention.
Pay attention and actually, listen to the story behind all of this shit, So the spring anime it's actually so damn amazing. It's much better than the winter for sure. So if you guys have any time on your hands on Crunchyroll.com, go in there and watch every single show because they're all damn interesting. But the 4 shows that I've talked about is the best ones to watch this spring. Is there anything else we need to talk about here?
I think that's about
I
it.
guess that's it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching the Otaku Nation podcast, episode 5. For all you guys that have watched, I am the current admin of Facebook group Anime Lovers, Johnlery, aka the Road Trip Auctioneer. Alongside with me is aka It's Storytime Real Talks with Jayvee Pasquale.